thank you, Nelson. And as you say, I no longer speak for the Mexican government, so I'm speaking on my own behalf, my own opinions, and I'm very glad to speak my mind. I want to give a sense of what I believe is at stake in the NAFTA renegotiation debate, and then give my own views on some different scenarios. First of all, I think that much more than trade is at stake. You know, at WITA, I guess there are a lot of trade policy wonks, and it's all, you know, MFN and SPS and TBTs and all that. That's fine, okay? But what's at stake here is the future of the bilateral relationship, the future of the relationship between Mexico and the U.S. And I believe that is the most important relation for the U.S. on a day-to-day basis. You know, there might be a rogue state here doing crazy stuff, a crisis there. There's always China. But on a day-to-day basis, for Americans, for their prosperity and security, I believe there's no more important relationship. So when there's talk about the wall, and it's not about a great album by Pink Floyd, you know, it's something different. And when there's talk about who's going to pay for that wall, you know,
by the way, some of the younger members in our audience look up.
Well, I strongly recommend that when you think about the wall, yeah, and then there's a great section about tearing down the wall, okay? You know, it really generates a toxic environment. And when there are very ingenious, quote-unquote, proposals about how to fund the wall, will it be a border tax? Will it be taxing remittances? Will it be taxing real estate transactions by Mexicans in the U.S.? Regardless of whether these initiatives are approved by the Congress, regardless of whether they're legal or not, and I do believe all those to be inconsistent with NAFTA and WTO commitments, they create a life of their own. You know, words matter. And Mexico will have a presidential election next summer. You know, campaigns will start a few months before that. We have a very noisy democracy. We also have a Congress. And this political environment in the U.S. is making it increasingly difficult for the Mexican government to achieve a constructive negotiated solution with the U.S. I believe that as time goes by, the win set of acceptable solutions is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I hear an old book called Distant Neighbors, written by Albright in the mid-1980s, being quoted again. If people want to get a context about what's going on, I would recommend they read or reread Distant Neighbors, and then that they read something more recent, like Shannon O'Neill's book called Two Nations Indivisible. She's at the Council on Foreign Relations, and she's got some actual factual facts, if you want to take a look at that. So that a lot of it is at stake here, okay? What scenarios do I see? I think that the most likely scenario would be one where there is a NAFTA upgrade, a modernized NAFTA, and for Mexico, the starting point should be the status quo. I don't see why Mexico should accept anything less than tariff-free, quota-free access, and then build upon it. Maybe include some provisions on energy. There are huge investments in energy, deep water investments, some of them by ExxonMobil Corporation. I don't see why the U.S. would think it's a bad idea to have ExxonMobil invest in deep sea oil in Mexico and to have it produced there, and to have Mexican oil shipped to the U.S., a friendly country. So energy, telecoms, e-commerce, and of course labor and the environment. There are some very vocal and vibrant, civil society in Mexico. I'm sure they would welcome, real and serious and substantive commitments on labor and environmental issues. Perhaps even rules of origin that could focus on regional production. What I don't see viable is, a full renegotiation of NAFTA, starting from scratch, having Mexico accept less than it already has. If that's the scenario, and if negotiations would take a long place, you know, a better alternative could be to say, okay, we'll go down the MFN route. Again, recall that there will be presidential elections in Mexico. Next summer. I don't think this summer 2018. I don't think that negotiations can go on endlessly because of uncertainty for political actors and for political reasons. And you've had some very respected Mexican leaders, like former President Cedillo in an op-ed last weekend at the Washington Post, and my former boss Jaime Serra, who was trade minister during the NAFTA negotiations, saying, no agreement and MFN is better than a bad agreement. It's better than managed trade, quotas, so I think that's something that the U.S. should be very cognizant about. From a more proactive perspective, that the U.S. is interested in a big infrastructure program. Why not focus on North American infrastructure? If you look at international rankings in terms of roads, railroads, ports, airports, North America does dismally. I mean, not one of the top 10 airports or ports are in North America. That's no way to compete as a region. So why not focus, say, on a North American infrastructure plan and let U.S. companies build in Mexico and Mexican companies in the U.S. and in Canada? I mean, this could sound like a pipe dream, but I think we need a reality check. And lastly, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, who has done some estimates about the world in 2050, Mexico will be the number 6 economy by 2050. I do not understand why the U.S. would want to make trade and investment more difficult with a nation which could very well become its main partner, its main destination for U.S. exports, one of its main investors. It just boggles the mind, and I think it's important to be very frank and hopefully to have more U.S. companies speak loudly and speak clearly. I know they don't want to be the object of a tweet, but this is not a zero-sum game, and there are specific stories to tell about why U.S. investment in Mexico benefits the shareholders of companies that are publicly listed, benefits workers in the U.S., how the supply chain works, and why it makes sense from a U.S. perspective. So I would sort of invite and encourage. Otherwise, we'll always be playing a defensive and post-factual game, and we'll be in deep trouble.
Thank you, Antonio. We have only about 20 minutes left, so I want to turn to the audience very quickly. So be thinking about any questions you have. But I think we've missed one important topic, each of us in our discussions, which is why has President Trump, President Trump, why has he made trade, why has he made NAFTA one of the key signature issues in his campaign and of his new administration? I believe it's because he has a deep political project in mind, which is to remake the Republican Party as a party that will be the party of a more populist party and the party of the working man, and to come up with strategies that will bring them over from their typical loyalty to the Democrats to a new loyalty to the Republicans. Clearly, if you look at how he won Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, the key states that gave him the presidency, it was because of that appeal. As he looks to his reelection, he wants to cement his relationship with those voters even more strongly. And that suggests to me that a sort of a tepid massaging of NAFTA and an announcement of victory may not be what he's going for, that he is actually going for something more radical, more dramatic, that will speak directly and meaningfully to this constituency he's trying to attract. So with that provocative comment, let's turn to the audience. When you speak, please tell us who you are, what institution you reside, put it in the actual form of a question, and remember, we do have C-SPAN here, so your mother might see whatever it is that you say at some point.